all, may there be peace for all, may there be completeness and wholeness for all, may there be auspiciousness in the lives of all at all the time, in all the locations. So when we say, may there be happiness, peace, completeness for all, it is more an intuitive awareness by which we know that the happiness is all pervading, like the water in the waves, like the space everywhere. But we get caught in the skyscraper, in our house, in your house, my house, same thing. We overlook highway and we are engaged with the traffic. Whether you say traffic or waves or the different houses which occupies the space, and we are not aware, we lack awareness of what is substrate. You can open your eyes, we forget that. It is here and now, but we forget. And that forgetfulness is nothing but the delusion. And delusion comes from ignorance. So when we talk of belief, must move to faith, and the faith must lead to the trust. Again, today there is an incidental diversion, plus I am pointing you to that what exactly how the faith works and how it leads to a higher awareness. So I demand you to pay attention, not to meditate, but listen to me. So there are few factors we should start with what is known as awakening. Right? There is some incidental diversion. So awakening is not a superpower. It is a normal beyond delusion, suffering, and ignorance. But because we think it will bring an end to the delusion, suffering, and ignorance, we think it is a superpower. No doubt there is a different perception. You live into that extraordinary awareness. You live into that, no doubt about it. To live into the awareness that all the waves are water, all the human beings have one substratum, that is pure consciousness. All the houses in the locations, one thing is common: without the space, there is no location at all. We live into that awareness. It is an extraordinary awareness. And once you touch upon it, it is irreversible. It is not reversible. So awakening is not a superpower. We compare this as if I will bring an end to the delusion, suffering, and ignorance. Let me continue. So my focus is there. So it demands a belief pending inquiry that I am of the nature of peace and happiness. I have it. It is already here. Now go reverse. If it is, we don't think in that way, we don't reflect in this way, then many people have leftover session. Why they have leftover session? Many reasons. One of the major reasons that awakening has nothing to do with the walking on the fire, reading minds, or showing off mystical powers. I don't want to tell you, and I don't want to name that. This guy caught in the hallucinations, and America is totally a different country. So this guy started those hallucinative experiences at his home with his or her partner and with his kids and children. You know what happened? Can you imagine, Christina? His partner called the cop and he spent 3 days in the prison. So considering awakening it is not a superpower. So I wanted to show to the people, look at me, I am awakened. And that is what happened in the family. Don't, you have to believe me, this is a true story. he, he was he was in the prison for 3 days. Luckily, he joined me again. He should not have joined. What makes this so striking? It is nothing mystical. You have to get rid of that. Then only we can reach to that state of awakening. What makes this so striking is how unglamorous it sounds. In a culture that glorifies peak experiences and secret techniques, being told that awakening is simply, oh, something grand, you will be in heaven. No. Awakening is described as abiding in pure awareness that does not change. And if you are abiding in that which does not change, there is a natural state of the peace, happiness, love, and the joy. Don't leave me. I told you the story that he was sent to the prison. Yeah, it's a real story. It happened last month. Another part that we have to understand, you have to move from belief to belief pending inquiry to the trust. Happiness is not something you get. It is something you stop covering up. Did you get it? You stop covering up and you are happy. But if you are seeking happiness, then it will never happen in your life. You will be frustrated with the Eastern wisdom and you'll be frustrated with me. Think of your happiness like the sun behind the clouds. The sun never stops shining. It is only hidden until the clouds move away. It is something you stop covering up. And those clouds are your delusion, ignorance. The joy is always there. You just need to stop covering it up. Are you getting it? But this statement I have to repeat n number of times until the belief, pending inquiry, becomes the faith, and the faith takes you to the trust. If it is not, then you will just blame and complain the Eastern wisdom or blame the teacher why happiness is our natural state. I am talking few points with reference to belief, faith, and trust. A very pragmatic approach. So happiness is our natural state, not something to chase. Suffering comes from ignorance and attachment, not from the life itself. Outer changes can't create lasting joy. The real work is peeling away false identification, not adding new achievement. Freedom comes when you realize joy is independent, happiness is independent of events, people, relationships, circumstances. Honey, you want to divorce, you should move in happiness. Oh, you want to divorce? Come and sit down. Let us have a divorce. The way you marry, marriage, naturally brings happiness. I'm just giving you the. I told you that I use this honey word, for many reasons. It may be the wealth. Sometimes you lose. Sometimes you get unexpected. Happiness is there. Second point. Second point. You see that? Just you have to move from belief to the belief pending inquiry, and that contemplation will continue to remove your ignorance, and ultimately you will abide in pure awareness. So, first point, awareness is not a superpower. And what I said, happiness is not something you get. Happiness is not something you get. Huh? It is something. It is something you stop covering up. So it means I have to become aware what is covering up my happiness. It is already within me, here and now. Did you get it? I hope you get it. Now, the third point. Let us pick up. And your mind is impure not because of bad thoughts. I understand. Your mind is impure not because of bad thoughts, but because it is everywhere at once. I told you the story. Balmiki was one of the greatest sinners. He used to kill people for wealth to maintain the livelihood for more than 10 years. So, as a sinner, as a dacoit, as a gangster, his name was Ratnakar. And he became one of the greatest masters of Eastern wisdom by the name Valmiki. Let us understand this. If you understand this point clearly and you contemplate and reflect, from there you can awaken to the higher consciousness. What I said, your mind is impure not because of the bad thoughts, but because it's everywhere at once. At least Valmiki must have those memories. It is not causing emotional problem when he became a master, but he had the memory. So from there, I extracted this point. Instead of moralizing about negative thinking, the technique, the teachings, Eastern wisdom defines mental impurity as scattered identification. That is the impurity. The mind tries to be the body, the pain, the past, the worries, the problems, frustration simultaneously, and only a tiny fraction remains available to abide in the real knowledge. Did you get it? So, as fully busy, you have many identifications in the world, and one fraction you know that your nature is peace and happiness. It will not work. That is impurity. Do you understand? Let us take a metaphor to understand. Imagine a mirror with water droplets all over its surface. Each droplet reflects a different scene. Every droplet. But the mirror itself is clear. When the droplets scatter, the reflection gets fragmented. Your mind is like that mirror, pure, but scattered by identifications. I told you, it is not IQ, it is a common sense. It takes the intellect to the height, to the supra-intellectual level. Mental impurity is not about bad thoughts, but about scattered identification. I am bad, but happiness is permanent. So both have a conflict. You have to get rid of this. The mind tries to be the body, pain, past, worry, opinion, all at once. Only a small part remains available for real knowledge. Purification is about not suppressing the thought, but withdrawing mistaken identification. That is why we understand what is real and what is false. So once I recognize it is false, let us leave it. Letting thoughts and feelings and sensations arise, be noticed, and release is the key. Are you getting it? I hope you are getting it. If not, you have to listen to it again and again to move into that. So you see, let us pick up another point. Uh, Let me use a phrase which you can easily understand the way our mind is conditioned. Awakening does not follow a checklist. What I said, awakening does not follow a checklist, but your mind launch for one. I explained you, flying from Arizona to Paris is a linear checklist. Photo, passport, ticket, boarding, landing. You miss a step and you don't travel, you can travel again. But awakening is like navigating a multi-dimensional maze. There is no single path, and every turn reveals new insights. So when I say that awakening does not follow a checklist, but you launch for one, it is multidimensional with discernment, detachment, meditation, contemplation, and reflection. When all these are working in your intellect, you are already there. Modern productivity wants spiritual growth to look like a course with a milestone. You cannot manage yourself into awakening. That is linear. The shift is a qualitative change in identification. It is not a checkbox. Think of it. You make a checklist, it has less to do with awakening. Another point, the most important thing about you cannot be seen. The real you cannot be seen by the senses and the mind, but it is present there. But still, I want a direct realization of this. The mind and the sense organ. Now you see that we have no sense organ in deep sleep. Don't we exist? But I heavily rely on the senses in a waking state. I want to define the reality based on my perception of the sense organs. Not possible. The material returns again and again to deceptively simple inquiry. Simple inquiry. You say, I am the body, and I'm tired, and I'm upset. But can you actually see the energy, mind or ego? I am tired. Can you see actually the energy? I'm upset. Can you actually see it? You cannot. The way I see you physically and you see me physically, you cannot see. You cannot. But you know that you understand. You know that you understand. Same way, you know that you understand. I am. Now I realize that I'm the real self. That invisible knowing is framed as awareness or consciousness. Unchanging. Unchanging. Difference is unchanging. Unlike the body mood roles. That is the most important thing that cannot be seen. Imagine a movie screen. The images, the character, and the stories come and they go, but the screen remains unchanged and the screen is not seen. But I experience the screen is there. Is it not? You are like that screen. We are like that screen, awareness and unseen, yet always present. It is always present, while everything else is just passing like a drama. Think of it. Belief pending inquiry, and then you reach to a trust. Your intellect now has no points of many distractions. With the mistaken identification, you are already there, here and now. When you say, I am the body, I'm tired, I'm upset, but you can't actually see the energy, mind, or the ego like you see the virtual session. So there is invisible knowing is awareness or consciousness. Ashok is feeling sleepy. It manifests into his physical gesture. I cannot see his mind, but it has nothing to do with reading the mind. The invisible knowing is awareness or consciousness. Belief pending inquiry. It is unchanging. So what we have understood that what is changing is not me, like body, mood, role, ego, thought, feeling, emotion, sensations. Then what is left? Knowing is what is left. That knowing is me. And that me points me to consciousness that is always constant. If consciousness is my true nature, problems, moods are only visitors, not my identity. And if they are not my identity, trust is there. Now the trust we have reached. After the trust, we reach to a point of deeper meditative journey. And when you reach to that deeper state of the meditative journey, I'll tell you what happens. Pick up another. You don't need few thoughts, you need a different relationship with them. Very sad. You look at something beautiful, so it is beautiful, you have to say it beautiful. So you need a different relationship with that thought. If you say, let me control my mind and suppress it and just hold it, to that will lead to awakening, not possible. It has never been possible. These are very deeper lessons, deeper points. You don't need fewer thoughts, you need a different relationship with them. Imagine your mind is an ocean. I'm giving a, because without metaphor, it becomes difficult. Imagine your mind is an ocean. Thoughts, emotions, sensations are like waves on the surface. Waves on the surface. The awakened state is not a flat, waveless ocean, but learning to rest in the deep water beneath. Consciousness is still present while the waves come and go. That is being awakened while living. Awakened people still have the thought, feeling, and emotion. If you don't have a thought, how can you go to the restroom? How can you go to the kitchen to prepare a cup of coffee? Can you do it without thought? Do it. So what is the difference? Difference is not you have a few thoughts, but you are least identified with them. No, I want a cup of coffee. And now I have an urgent session. Let me give a session so that identification with the coffee is gone. You don't have a craving and longing. Are you getting it, Christina? You meet your mom. You don't have an identification. You are free. You have a thought because of the past memory, but you are not identified with it. You are free. How dare you are my honey and you abused me? Now you see. If you are least identified, please abuse me more. I'm okay. I'm least affected with you. Thoughts are witnessed as objects, not as me. Progress in awakening is measured by how quickly identification drops, not by how quiet the mind is. Then what happens? Anxiety and depression and hatred and delusion lose their grip. They lose their grip, you are free. You experience that freedom. You experience that freedom. How you reach to that state. The master says, I'm not saying master says satsang. What is that? Satsang is systematic study. Now, again and again. That is why I picked up 5 hours, 5 years you have spent 500 hours. I spent 600 hours only in 3 months. How many hours you spent in these 5 hours in the journey of a self-discovery? So the master said, satsang, systematic study can lead you beyond all these mistaken identities, delusion, and ignorance, and you are there. So we need to have a structured path can lead you beyond the structure. In the beginning, we need a structured path, a systematic study, continuous, consistent. You're doing the practice, you're listening, you're contemplating and reflecting, and one day you find you go beyond the structure. And you reach there. Reach there means that it is already inside you. Last, if you want to know what it means by a structured path can lead you beyond the structure, how to understand that. Imagine building a house. You need a strong foundation, walls, roof, before you can move in. Once the house is built, you don't live in you live in the home. Structure is essential to build, but once you are inside, what it is known as, What is the structure is essential to build, and what is that awakened word? The frame, once let us say framework. Structure is essential to build, but once you are inside the home, that framework fades into the background. We don't see what is the framework of this house. You're already inside. But until then, framework is required, and that framework is satsang. And that framework, satsang is listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, regular practice, and then expect the change in your behavior and attitude and conduct, and that you express in thought, speech, and action, and every day you find the change. Let us, huh? Let us. Awakening is not a future event, but a recognition of the awareness that is already present behind every thought, feeling, and role. It is not a future event, but because it is structured, so that is why we say yes, continue. Like a movie projector, the films keep changing. It is here and now. The screen is here and now. Are you understanding? Do I believe it? Or I am getting scattered by the plots and drama of actor and actresses and the villain playing the role, getting some accident took place. The film keeps changing thought, feeling, roles, but the light behind it stays the same. Awakening is not about changing the film, but recognizing the light that is always there. That is for all for today. Dennis, can you come front and what is your take?
Thank you for the session. A lot of things that I noted today, and 2 points I wanted to comment on. Um, uh, Sometimes people ask me why do I spend so much time on this Eastern wisdom, the practice, the seminars, and the more important question they ask is why do I believe in it? And my answer, it is not about belief in traditional sense. It's not like belief in God or belief in supernatural, where it is not possible to either prove or disprove the belief. Uh, it's about consistent, systematic, and logical knowledge about who I am and how this world works. And the most important, that every bit of this knowledge can be questioned, can be verified using strict logic. So in this sense, belief and faith in Eastern wisdom is almost scientific. And I follow it because I have not found to date any other approach that could explain this world and my own self in such a logical and consistent manner. I don't say that I will never find any other approach, but to date, it's the only thing that I think it fully verifiable, fully much more scientific than any other approach. So that is usually my answer. And the second point I wanted to comment on is your statement that mind is impure not because of bad thoughts, but because it is scattered everywhere at once. We take so much things personally that the mind is never 100% available to the real knowledge. Any information that comes through the sense organs, the mind always wants to interpret with respect to myself. with respect to my ego.
Yeah.
And the mind always tries to see how this sensory input affects me. It doesn't want to accept that the thoughts, feelings, emotions are not really related to my real self, to me. And in this respect, I can understand perfectly when you say that we need to change our attitude to the thoughts, to feelings, emotions, to recognize that they're separate, that they live their own life that is governed by the law of karma. So there is just no sense to convert bad thoughts to good thoughts, or try to fight thoughts, or try to get rid of them. We just have to change um, our relation with the thoughts.
Beautifully, beautifully presented. Consistent, that is the satsang. Master lays great importance on the satsang, can help you to get rid of the delusion, ignorance, can help you absorb into meditation. But if I keep sleeping in the session, then it will not help. If my mind is already scattered and I have built a relationship with my sleep and laziness and hatred and anguish, and then I'm attending a satsang, then it will take another 10 years. And the second point is self-explanatory. Our really bad thought or good thought, there is no bad thought and a good thought. It is my relationship to that. My relationship. Beautifully said. Thank you. How are you, David and Jerry? Gone? Oh, yes, returned.
No, we're here. Thank you, Girish and Dennis. Really well summarized, because it's the journey of our real self to our real self, which we're on. But the reality is, our real self is there. The focus needs to be changing the relationships that we have with our past impressions, our thoughts, our feelings, and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, it's silly. It's so simple that once we start to change those relationships, the real self just blossoms out, that's already there. So, and I'm, you know, to Dennis's point, I think we were all looking for the solutions to life or what have you. And there's no other, no disrespect to religion or other things, but they're not fact-based. This is fact-based, and it's frankly old and tried and true. So it's phenomenal. So thank you.
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful. It is not a future event, but it took me another 15, 20 years to experience that, but a recognition of awareness already present there, as Samir was saying in the last session. Yes, Samir, yeah, Jerry, first Jerry, and then I will come to you, Samir. Hold on.
Thank you, sir. Well, I like the belief pending inquiry, and I feel like that is the kind of root of the self-discovery. We can prove it to ourselves. We can notice the peace always, notice the happiness always, and the sense of completeness. And then we appreciate every thought, feeling, event. We really truly have an appreciation for it, even when it's difficult and painful. We really can bring an awareness to it, because we know who we are, we know what we are, and we know that that's not changing, and the event will pass. So that is the proof. And then we don't get attached, we don't have fantasy, we don't have it just fades away. So, and
Yes.
we see all of that. And the thousands of impressions make it a little challenging. The journey takes a long time sometimes, because we don't recognize it takes it's layers and layers and layers.
And because of mistaken identification, and that is why it is full of many layers. Sometimes, you look at a person, you are anxious. You look at the second person, you are happy. You look at the third person, you are a bit attached. You look at the fifth person, you still identify. That person may be a mom or a husband or a wife or a children or a stranger or a friend or an enemy. Now we have all those identification and their feelings present in my mind. So I don't have time to pay attention to what is real. That is why the satsang is required. Beautifully put. How are you, Samir? Now it's your turn.
Sir, you told me that many more thoughts or less thoughts are not important. Your relationship with the thoughts is most important thing.
Yes.
I have realized this thing when there is knowledge starts occurring in your mind, no, you start making your thoughts understand that you are going the wrong way. This is the right way. This is not the right way. Means you have a different relationship with your thoughts. Supposing as you talked about show off, before it was very necessary for me to prove my point in front of the people. I was just dying to prove my point that no, I am right. Now it looks childish to me that I'm not craving or I'm not dying to prove my point. If they understand, fine. They don't understand, more fine. That is the thing. So a relationship with the thoughts changes totally as we start making our thoughts understand that where you were going was not the right way, this is the right way. So that if that healthy relationship developed between me and my thoughts, then
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. It looks childish now to show off that I'm rich or poor or good or bad. No, nothing of that sort. I don't identify with it. When you don't identify, the people identify with me in a session and then they leave the session or they continue the session. So it is their problem. Why should I say? You see that? So we are always, we enjoy that freedom. Beautifully said. You have to pay attention to that point every day. I have to pick up how many thoughts I identify. You don't identify with your mom, so you are free. Christina, how are you doing?
Thank you. Yeah, what's landed today for me is what you'd said about the light is always there. And for so many years, I personally have been seeking external to myself and finding identification right outside or identifying myself in relation to others. And there is just this sense of peace and freedom as we sit here and contemplate this today at a deeper level.
Beautiful. Yes, we are going there. And how are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So with today's lesson, the experience over the weekend is like my mind was saying some thoughts to me, and I said that for today I will not associate myself with these thoughts. If it is saying that though I have acted in past with those thoughts, with those association with those thoughts, I said that today I will not do like that. Today I will be stay calm. I will not associate myself with those thoughts, and I'll see for today. I don't know about tomorrow, what going to happen tomorrow, but I'll stay today. And then sometimes the thought was coming, it was giving some impression. I also was saying that I will not associate with these impressions. I will remain calm. These impressions are like on the body. It's okay. That will go away. So things were fine and things.
Yes, that is one approach. Because it starts with the belief that thought is not me. Thought says you are in anxiety, but it is not me. I have a belief that I am the real self, and that belief pending inquiry with that thought. So you create another thought that I will not associate with any thought. Thought is a product of knowledge. Knowledge is nothing but your awareness, and you continue to live with that state of de-identification. The mind naturally becomes free. It may not become free today, but if you are consistent, it will become free tomorrow. But it does not mean that awakening state you get tomorrow. It is already there. I'm not able to see it. That demands a trust. 100. So when you have 100%, you have 100%. Dennis, Samir, and David, and Vaibhav have 100% trust that, for example, you are male, you are man, and David and others, Christina, Jerry, and Carrie, I'm a woman. Trust is there. No way. I cannot get rid of it. So once we reach to that level of the trust, we are already there. Let us see, close your eyes. Eyes are closed. And notice, you start noticing. We are a higher seeker. We need not to worry about place, position, posture, sensation, comfort, steadiness, being comfortable, or being carefree. You just notice. As you all said, you should not get associated with any thought that is passing by, good or bad thoughts. Notice. Notice means you are presence. You are present. You are present means you are aware. You are aware means that behind there is a consciousness. Behind the mind, behind the thought, behind the feeling, good and the bad, there is a consciousness, there is an awareness. So you notice. Now in the very mind, you notice two things. You notice and there is a thought. You notice that you notice is an observer. And what you notice is not you. And what you notice is a thought, good, bad, high, low. So what I said, awakening does not follow a checklist. Your mind is still aware that I'm searching the real self. So one side there is an observer, it is only one. On the other side, there are millions and trillions of the thought, feeling, emotions, past impressions. So first level of de-identification takes place. Second level of identification with investigate. Investigate here means I'm using POISE method today. POISE, the acronym. I, investigate, means contemplation and reflection. So you are an observer and you are also the observed. Now you investigate through the contemplation and reflection. Why contemplation and reflection? So you can uproot the root causes. The root causes are strong likes and dislikes, mistaken identification. First level, simply the thoughts. That is why I use the word investigate. What is that identification? You like, you are attached, you still have a problem of mistaken identification. You hate someone, you react to someone. That is also a problem of mistaken identification. You cannot categorize them as a good and a bad thought. You see those pulsations and the sensations of likes and dislikes at this level. So observer is now subtle. So that observer is a subtle. You see how the belief pending inquiry deepens? That is what I explained to you. Our mind is impure not because of bad thoughts and good thoughts, but because it's everywhere at once. No. Don't be anywhere at once. You become aware, and if you're aware of that, you are leaving them all. They are left on their own. And then I created the S as a space, POIS, S is the space. The most important thing about us is that we cannot be seen. We cannot be seen by the senses and mind, but experience. Experienced. So there is a space. So what I said, you have an observer, space, the thought, feeling, emotions, likes and dislikes, hatred and jealousy and pleasure and whatever it is. So you see there are three categories: the observer, the space, and the rest of the changing world. Some of you know said that word is changing. Yes. So I'm using those phrases. So there are three. So that is what the space is. Very good. Now you have the space. That space represents that you are abiding. Now your mind is ready to abide in consciousness, but still the journey is little far. So we say, oh, let us use Om Shanti. So observer, the moment you see the space, you drop Om Shanti, and then the rest of the thoughts. So either I can say you superimpose Om Shanti on all the thoughts, or you superimpose Om Shanti on the space and drop the mistaken identification that we all have understood. You are free. That becomes one of the super powerful meditation journey in your life if you follow that. But here satsang loosens the hold of your delusion, of your ignorance, of your hatred, of your duality, of your conflict. And that is satsang, that is what we do every every week. So you are just aware what I said. What I said, you in the very first point. That you all understood very well that our mind is impure not because of bad thoughts, but because it's everything, because it's everywhere at once. So my mind is scattered with millions of the thoughts that belongs to the false. And I have a little time for the mind to focus on Om Shanti. Check it. Do you have more time to drop Om Shanti? and simply drop that mistaken identification by the Om Shanti. In both the cases, it is the Om Shanti. Or you can say it is the after regular practice, we reach to a state where we discover that it is just in the space, and in the space is awareness and pure consciousness, and you are already there. How long it takes, it depends on you. Your laziness and your sleepiness is also a mistaken identification, or a bunch of thoughts that strikes and that hits your mind. Definitely is also your identification. Now we have nothing to do, just passing phase. Observer, space, you casually drop Om Shanti, and you see you are not identified with any thought of the past, personal relationship to the thought with the likes, dislikes, delusion, pride, ego, etc. And you feel that sense of freedom. Can you introduce the poise method in the last word? Is embody. Embody, obviously. When the space is there and you're dropping Om Shanti, that is embody. You're embodying with, why you embody? To check, to experiment if that Om Shanti is my nature. If it is not my nature, it will never happen. So in the beginning, I have to start with the belief pending inquiry. Do you see the point? We are not saying that no, it is there and you have to believe it. No. We are now experimenting Om Shanti. Om Shanti. And if that I can recognize and directly experience the Om Shanti is there, it is done. So that points toward last point. Awakening is not a future event, but it's the recognition of awareness already present. And it systematic study, I have covered almost everything. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand. I believe that you all practiced mental chanting, or you forgot it. Forgot it, mistaken identification. So you can recall it next time. So bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it in your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. David has to leave. So let us have David and the Jerry first to share their experiences.
Um, just beautiful, deep, quiet space that I was in and heard every word, and just space. That's the only description I can come up with. Thank you.
Beautiful. It's really beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. It was a deep meditation. It's nice and peaceful. Thank you so much.
Very good. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So mine was calm, and the realization was that the freedom is not when all the thoughts are positive. The freedom is when I am indifferent to any thought which is there in the mind. I am not changing. The thoughts are changing, and then I will feel the real freedom.
Beautifully said. Yes, we all have to pay attention to this. Yes. Say, mistaken identification. You recognize and you drop. And when you drop, your mind is free. Beautifully said. How are you, Samir?
Sir, mind was totally aware and listening to all means it never for a single minute I don't remember it was in sleep or dullness, nothing like that. This one thing I just want to say that this change is coming in me that I am aware in the meditation. Means sometimes I used to sleep for within that and again wake up, but now it is not like that. It is continuous process, and I think it is means I'm aware. I'm not in a. I don't sleep nowadays.
Yes, that I am is the observer. So previously, I am sleep, I am lazy, I am anxiety, I am stress. So that difference, big difference. It's a big difference, and it leads to a transformation. How are you, Dennis?
A very peaceful understanding that all the troubles, worries, problems are just thoughts and are not related to me is very peaceful and liberating. Thank you.
Yes, at any time. Let us use the thought as much as possible. You are good, I'm bad, everything is you, but internally you are not identifying with it. Sometimes it demands a situation, demands it, but you're not identifying with it. You say you say to a person you are bad, but you are free from, okay, you say bad for the sake of changing. That is all, finished. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. Just, yeah, a settling of the mental chatter that feels like even just relating that to day, noticing, being able to have thoughts and situations arise and not as attached. And as David said, just more space around that and a calmness.
What a beautiful state. You, the mom, before you talk to your mom or anyone, you first recognize that space and then talk and see what happens. But it demands again an awareness. How are you, Terry?
I was, my thoughts were many and about the lesson, and I was thinking about the Om Shanti. Uh, is I have a question.
Yes.
When we drop the Om Shanti, is that a tool for replacing the delusionary thought.
Yes. There are two parts of it. You recognize Om Shanti I am. Then you don't worry about whether the thoughts are good and bad.
Mm.
And you are also right when you replace, so-called, if you say replacing the delusionary thoughts with Om Shanti, that too is the right. The time comes when we say Om Shanti, there are least identification with the thought, we are indifferent. Again, you continue the journey. You stop the Om Shanti and you are still into that state. So there are many layers, and that again depends on, that is what we discussed, that depends on our journey, the satsang. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.